Right, okay, I thought I'd just do a quick little demo of how to set everything up. So this is the actual Raspberry Pi device itself in a heatsink case. It will get slightly warm when you're using it, but it won't overheat. Tested it quite a lot in the arcade machine, and the other one that I've got for Jensen is in the exact same case, and it's been perfect. So yeah, it will get warm, but you won't have any issues. You shouldn't crash or anything like that. Just on the side there, you can see a little micro SD. Pull that out. That's got everything on. It's got all the software on and everything. You shouldn't ever need to pull that out. However, if for any reason you do end up corrupting the SD card for any reason, I've done a backup as it is, or as it will come to you as new. So if you had to, you could always take out the micro SD card, pop it in an envelope and post it to me, and I'll just reinstall everything as fresh. Power supply. So it's just I don't know if you can see, just a micro USB adapter in the little plug socket there. It'll only go in one way. Lighting's not great, unfortunately, but yeah, it just goes in there, and then standard HDMI cable. Again, HDMI slot, and there is a 3.5mm jack on there as well, but you shouldn't need that because all the audio comes directly through the HDMI to your telly or your monitor, whatever you want to connect it to. And then the power supply is actually switched on the side here, and that's because there's no actual on-off switch on the device itself. So you'll switch it on and off from here. However, you need to treat it like you would do a PC or a laptop, basically, and shut the software down before you actually switch the power off, but I'll go through that in a second. So that's just the basics of it. On the side, you've got Ethernet connection. However, that's not set up to work, and you've got no need for it to be connected to the internet at all. And then you've got 4 standard USB 2 ports for connecting up to 4 controllers. Now, what I have found is that when you connect a Xbox or a PS4 controller to it via Bluetooth, is that you do suffer quite substantial input lag. So I would absolutely recommend just connecting it up through wired, but I will show you how to connect up via Bluetooth as well if you wanted to do that, just so that you can see that it does it. But I don't think the actual Bluetooth receiver on the Raspberry Pi itself is particularly strong. So obviously in the arcade machine, the joysticks have always been wired via USB, so I'd never really noticed any input lag before. But when I was testing it using Bluetooth, then yeah, there is quite bad input lag. So USB cable that obviously came with any PS4 controllers is fine. So once you've got everything plugged in, literally all you need to do is just push the on button, and then you'll see it power up on the side, and then you'll see the green light which is flashing, and that is the indication that it's reading the micro SD card. And then it'll do a boot up sequence. I've done a few different videos. You've seen some before. It might help if I switch the sound on. There we go. Turn that down. I've done 4 or 5 different startup videos, just showing different consoles or games that are playing. This one's obviously like a fighting style one. Just messing around, just me trying out different things really. So all the gameplay that you'll see for all the different games is actually me just doing a few seconds of gameplay for each game, and then cut them all together and put some music behind them. We'll just let that play through, and then we'll get to the main menu and we'll come back. Okay, so now we've booted up, you should only be greeted with this screen the very first time that you actually switch it on, and that's because I've reset it so that it doesn't think that any controllers are connected to it, because obviously you've got to connect your own controllers. So as I said, at the minute, best thing to do is to do a wide connection, so plug into any of the USB ports. That should fire up your gamepad. And then literally, as it says, it will talk you through all the individual setup. So hold any button, recognises it as a PS4 or Sony controller, wireless controller, and then just map the buttons. So up on the D-pad, down, left, right, start, select. Now with your A and B buttons, predominantly I think it was originally designed with Xbox controller in mind, but you want it to obviously play like you would be normally used to with a PS4, PS5 controller. So even though it's saying button A, which is on the east, which would obviously be circle, for the purpose of A and B, or circle and X, you want to reverse them. So for button A, you want to press X. Button B, you want to press circle. But then after that, you can just follow. So north, west, left shoulder, left trigger, right trigger, clicking the left thumbstick, clicking the right thumbstick, left analog up, left analog down, left, right, up on the right, up on the down, left, right. Now your hotkey is what's going to enable you to do shortcuts like exit games or save games, load games, etc. So best thing to do is use your PS button in the middle, press that, and then just wait a couple of seconds. All of those buttons are now mapped, and you can do that for up to 4 controllers, PS4, Xbox controllers, and there you go. So those are mapped left and right, and you can use your analog sticks. However, the analog sticks will not work with most of the games, because obviously these are old style games that didn't obviously have analog input. It was all D-pad. So yeah, just use your D-pad most of the time. Okay, so once you've done that, if you wanted to do if you wanted to remap the buttons for any particular reason, if you press the start button, you'll come up to the main menu, and then if you come down to configure input, press X, and then do you want to configure input? Yes, and then basically it will show you how many gamepads you've got detected, depending on how many you've got obviously plugged into the USB ports. Hold the button again, and basically it will recognise it, and you'll go through that whole process again. So if you've accidentally pressed the wrong button for any reason when you've done your configuration, you can just go back into it and you can reconfigure them, which is handy sometimes. So we'll just do that. Okay, so a few other bits and pieces. You don't need to touch Scraper at all. That's what pulls all the artwork and the box art and videos and things for the games that are installed. So you don't need to touch that. Sound settings, you can go into sound settings. You can obviously turn the volume down, should you so choose. Just leave it as it is. You can change audio device, but again, you wouldn't really need to do that, so leave that as HDMI. Once you confirm it, it will change the settings. So if I was to turn that right down to like 40% and then press back, there we go, you can barely hear it now if at all. So you can do that on there, or obviously just use the remote control on your telly. There we go. UI settings, again, you can mess around with this sort of stuff, but I have tried to set it up in a way that should be preferable to you, so you shouldn't really need to mess around too much. But what I've got with the screensaver is that if you leave it unattended for 3 minutes, then a screensaver will kick in, and I've done a random video. So any of the videos that are showing for any of the games in the emulators, it will just pick a random video, and you can leave that playing in the background. So that's quite good. But you can also change it to a slideshow. So instead of it playing videos, it will play box art. Or you can have it just dimming. You can have a black screen, but I thought random video was quite good. So just go back on that. The rest of it you shouldn't need to touch at all, or I wouldn't recommend that you touch it if I'm perfectly honest. Game collection settings, again, You can create your own custom game collections based on the main menu, what you'll see in the background. But again, I wouldn't really mess around with that unless you really wanted to. One thing that's quite good is that if you press Y or triangle as it is on the PlayStation controller on any of the games in the menu for the games, it will add it to your favourites list. But if you wanted to remove any of the favourites that you've put on there, or any of the ones that I'd put on there while I was testing it, if you just double tap Y or double tap triangle as it is here, it will remove it from your favourites collection, which is quite good. Other settings, again, I wouldn't really mess with that. I'll put that to 100. That should have been on 100. Yeah, none of that you need to mess around with. So that's all that. Games, once you've configured your controller, then it should just play like you would be normally used to with the PlayStation controller. So X to enter a particular menu, circle to go back, and then it would be the same for starting a game. So you would choose a game that you wanted, and then you would press X on it and it would launch the game. Again, if you just press circle, you'll go back. If you want to launch the screensaver as well without it waiting for the 3 minutes, if you just press the share button or select as it were, it should fire up. There we go, and it will just play a random video, and I've set it that it will just change every 10 seconds, I think it is. Again, if you press circle, that'll take you back. I think actually if you press select again, it should choose a different video. Yeah, so if you wanted to flick through some of the videos, you can do just by pressing select or share as it was, and it will do different videos for you, which is quite a good feature. So that's that. Favourites, as I said, so I did put a few things that I considered to be favourites of mine, but if you was to double tap triangle as we said, it should, I think, have removed that now. I think possibly you might need to be on the system that you added it from. So we can see there Back to the Future Part 2 on the Mass System. So if I just go to Mass System and find Back to the Future Part 2 and then double tap, he says Back to the Future Part 2. Sorry, it's not triangle, it's square. So as you'll see there on the screen, so one tap adds a game to your favourite. So added Back to the part 2 to favourites. Double tap on square removes it from favourites. Okay, so I just got that the wrong way around. So it's square instead of triangle. So that's that. Right. I think I'll cut the video just here a second, and then I'll just do another one around how you would connect your controller via Bluetooth, and then I'll do a couple of short little videos on firing up games and the basic controls around exiting games, back to the main menu, quick save or save state as it's called, and load state, which will work for any game in any of the emulators. And then things like if you wanted to go in and tweak individual controls for a specific game, I can show you how to do that as well.